video. Hello, fish fat. Yeah, they sold 1 Satoshi. That's it. That's all they did. And you know what? Before I go on, I have to do this again. Manage. Let me try this again. No. What a shame. There's always a lag between Zoom and OBS. That's just how it goes. It's true. Now let me try something else before we keep going. I want to see something. Let me try some audio. First of all, I'm going to transfer over to this the SM7B. Can you actually hear it, and does it sound good? That's the big question. Because usually when I have this, no, Michael Lewis, it's not a lame clickbait video title. They actually did sell. And usually when I transfer between my headphones and this this microphone, it's a little bit off. So we'll see. Okay. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, everybody, welcome. Interesting day, huh? Pretty amazing that here we are in this little spectacle of a cryptocurrency market. Increase the volume. Let me try that. Burp. Audio now compressed and lower. Man, it sucks. Okay. Okay, first of all, everybody turn up your volume a little bit. And let's see how it sounds. Because I want to go back and forth, actually. Sounds good? Okay, sounds good. Not much depth. Good here. Sounds good. Yeah, I like the video. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. So, first of all, let me share my screen so you all know what the heck I'm talking about. Boop. And there I am. So this is the story that just came out about an hour ago or so. And it talks about how Tesla, Elon Musk, and the whole gang over there sold some Bitcoin. Not just some. And this isn't just like, hey, I heard this on Reddit. And the guy that I know who knows a guy who has got a friend told me this happened. This is from an earnings call today. And they just came out and said, look, we sold some Bitcoin. We actually sold 10% of our position. They didn't really give, there were some specific reasons. There was a little bit of, they wanted to recapture some funds that they had actually accrued through grabbing some Bitcoin. And there was a little bit to offset some losses, research and development, investments, and other costs. So yeah, they sold a little bit, you know, and anybody else, it really isn't a big deal. So it's not a big thing. But I'm going to tell you why it's a big deal here in this market in a second. Let me stop sharing real quick. And let me go over here. So let's see here. Son of a gun. Exactly right. So let me ask you this. I just switched over to the microphone. How does the microphone sound? Because when I'm gonna have a couple guests on, and I don't want to drown them out. So we know what that is. Corey says they did say they're about to dump a bunch of liquidity into crypto, though. That's a nice rumor. I like rumors. Rumors what makes the world go round. And we'll go from there. Okay, great. Yeah, that's true. Liquidations. So what does this mean? What does this all mean for Tesla to liquidate? Is it the end of the world? Is it something that's awful? No, not really. Not at all, actually. And let me come over here. God dang it. Shouldn't have said that. Let me come over here, pull up this. And hello from Singapore. Let's just take a look at what's going on in the market, shall we? Well, let me refresh this real quick. This is Trade the Chain, sentiment analysis. It's also good for see what's going on as far as like what the sentiment is of the market, as far as like, you know, do we feel this is going to go a certain way? How is the news? And what it does is, of course, it's, you know, you've heard me talk about this numerous times, but yes, it's crawls all the interwebs, the different blog posts, all the exchange websites. It also is one of 5 different cryptocurrency companies have a direct API into Twitter, and it disseminates all this information and gives us a sentiment of where things are going. I personally think that news moves the market. TA people totally disagree with me. I think there's a middle ground. I think if Elon's going to, you know, tweet a little Doge information, guess what? TA is not going to find that. And then, of course, there's a lot of whale movement in the market, and the news isn't going to find that. So I think there's a place for both of them. So let's just agree to disagree, huh? But what I'd want to see right here is what's going on with the price of Bitcoin. Well, let me tell you, in the last hour, because this just broke an hour ago. It just broke an hour ago. And not a big deal, actually. It actually just went up a percentage point for Bitcoin. So the question then is, does it really matter? And if it doesn't really matter, is Bitcoin going to keep going up? Or have people just not heard this news as it's come out? Because this earnings call was, I think, about 2 hours ago or so. So it'll be interesting to see how it is. But there's a bigger instance of what is going on in the cryptosphere about how this is going to affect everything. I'm going to get into that in a bit. But I'm going to go back and I want to take a look at your comments. So let me know what you think, if this is a big deal or not a big deal. I think it's going to be a big deal, just not right now. And I will say this, the hourly sentiment, when I did our video today where I was talking about Dogecoin and I was talking about what was going on, the hourly sentiment was pretty high neutral, almost bearish on the hourly. Daily was pretty neutral. And then long term, of course, was bullish. We're still bullish, but some was extremely bullish or very bullish, but not so much now. So that's interesting to see where people are going. Interesting. Let me pull this up real quick. All right. So what do we got? Darren's got a good point. He says, hey, isn't taking profits often our mantra? Why not Elon? And you're exactly correct. Let me pop out this chat. That sounds funny. Need to pop out this chat. Let me share a screen. Let me get in Alex real quick. This is the funny part. This is the funny part because, you know, it's like, well, what's going to happen? Nobody knows. Maybe this guy knows. His name's Alex Mascioli.
What's going on, Rob? Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, what a crazy day, huh? Crazy day. Let's see. Let me quick a view. First of all, let me see if I can get this correct. So, Alex, I was jumping back and forth between OBS and Zoom, and I happened to say a couple F-bombs as I was getting everything done and ready. Always fun to do that. So let's see here. First of all, before we go on, let me jump back, share this real quick. Okay, so I'm using this new mic for Zoom. I want to see how it sounds, but I've also got my earphones in because I don't want to have a bunch of reverb coming back or echoes. So first of all, is the video okay and is the audio okay? That's the question. And as you're answering that, let me go through the comment section. Tesla sold about 1/8 of holdings. Watch CNBC totally flip this news for their narrative. Sure. 10%, beef up profits. We give Elon too much credit. Yes, we do. Exactly. Where else are we? New mic is bomb. well, that sounds pretty good then. Well, there we go.
The new mic is bomb, by the way. I think you sound awesome.
Thanks. Be on the lookout for yours. I'm going to send you one.
I was actually going to text you and ask you what mic setup you're using because I want one.
Yeah, I got a list. So Alex, let me catch you up to speed. So this happened today. Earnings call came out. Looks like Tesla sold some Bitcoin. Not a big deal in the real world, right? Well, I mean, we are in the real world, I guess. But this is what happened. And as it comes down here, Tesla sold some of its Bitcoin, 10.8% stash in the first quarter for $272 million in proceeds. That's a pretty good day, right? Because they just bought it, December? Somewhere around there? December, January, somewhere around there. The sale trimmed Tesla's position by 10%. Tesla CFO Zachary Kirkhorn said in an earnings call. And in the slide deck, he says this: year over year, positive impact from volume growth, regulatory credit revenue growth, gross margin improvement driven by further product cost reduction, sale of Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And we just had to lower costs, additional supply chain costs, research and development investments and other items. Model S and Model X changeover costs negatively impacted both gross profits as well as research and development expenses. So you got to make some money somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've been preaching ever since the corporates came onto the scene, whether it was, not so much, listen, Michael Saylor, because he's a majority owner and there's less involvement from stakeholders. But when you have a company like Tesla, listen, folks, these guys preach Tesla or preach Bitcoin. They love it. They're going, they're trying to go to the moon. But the real sad truth is when earnings calls come, they got to take profit if their balance sheet calls for it. And that's a fact. And it's not their fault. It doesn't make them a bad person. I mean, they're just profit taking. They're running a business. Yeah.
And you know what? It's a great point. And someone even pointed out, they go, hey, man, don't demonize Elon for doing what we're all talking about. We talk about this all the time. You got to take profits on the way up, right? And like our man CJ says, nobody ever went broke taking profits. So, but I mean, you said it, you called it. I've had you on the show many a time. And because people have been telling me the same thing, Rob, you don't understand, this is going to be a totally different year because these corporations, they get it. They know that Bitcoin is the one, and it's going to change the world, and they're going to hold it forever, and diamond hands, and off we go. And I was like, that is ridiculous. But okay, we'll go with that narrative. And here we are today. Tesla did what Tesla does, what all businesses do, what Alex knows because he's dealt with these big net worth hedge fund type of guys and big institutions. They're going to take profits. I mean, I don't know. That's all I got, man.
Rob, listen, you have 200,000 subscribers, by the way. Congratulations on that.
Thanks. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
Neither can I. It's crazy.
I'm one of 200,000 people who watch you daily, so I'm happy to be that. The thing is that for the last year, over a year, you've been really taking people down this path of crypto investing and whatnot, and even you have an exit plan, and you've documented it many times on your show. Because you take profits, because you want to realize those gains and those wins, doesn't make you an evil person. It makes you a smart person.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like you can't consistently just hold forever. You can, I mean, if you're the average investor and you just want to say, you know what, I'm just going to set it and forget it. Like we did a show about Dogecoin. Somebody bought Doge, Climate, I forgot his handle, but he bought $3,000 worth of Doge in 2017 and he just forgot about it. And he's kind of, shifted away. And then he goes, hey man, it's worth like 700,000. So I think it's a pretty good investment. I was like, that's true. So you can do stuff like that. But if you're a corporation and you got people to answer to, especially shareholders, they're like, hey man, hey, if you want to keep this business afloat and you want to do all this research and development and you want to push out all this new automation, you want to really change the world, you better start trimming the fat, pal. And that fat is going to be some of that Bitcoin that you made. So not that it's fat, but it's profits just sitting there and waiting for you to take. take the profits and we will move on. And I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, exactly. Take yourself as a Tesla shareholder. Okay, if you're a Tesla shareholder and Tesla has an underperforming year, what are you going to vote on when it comes to, you know, proxy meetings and whatnot? You're going to say, listen, we want an earnings per share positive quarter. We want you to sell some of that Bitcoin. That's the whole reason you invested in it.
That's the point. So here's the
Not
question.
to be a Twitter celebrity.
That's right. Everybody's Twitter famous these days, or TikTok famous. That's for damn sure. Damn TikTokers. I got to tell you, those guys drove. I have to hire some of those people, honestly, because they drove the price of everything. That is fantastic marketing, if not irresponsible marketing, but whatever. So here's the big question. Let me share some with you. I'm going to pop back here real quick. And everybody, I'll get to the questions in a second. You must be kidding. That's pretty funny. Let's see. This one, Alex. Bitcoin treasuries. So as we take a look at this, let me load this up a little bit so people can actually see it. So MicroStrategy, I don't think they're going to be selling anytime soon because it's a little bit different, right? With Saylor, he's kind of like, hey, you know, I run the show. If you don't like it, pound sand, get out of here. And that's that. Tesla, a little bit different. Square's Dorsey, but not so much. Marathon, Coinbase, Galaxy, Bitcoin Group, Hut 8, Voyager, Digital, Riot. Do you see any of these guys just going, you know what, time to trim the fat and take some profits?
You know, I think it's harder for the companies that are into Bitcoin directly as opposed to have exposure, right? So if you take a company like Riot, for instance, or Mana, those companies are going to have, they have to weigh the cost of PR to selling the Bitcoin, where somebody like Square or somebody like Tesla, they don't. It's a pure investment for their treasury. It's pure profit play. One makes cars, the other is a payment processor. If you have a Bitcoin mining company that's public and they go to sell a large amount of Bitcoin off their treasury to make profits, that's a little different as far as the narrative is concerned.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't see Riot going down that way. Galaxy Digital, why would they? Marathon.
I mean, if Novogratz sold 20% of his Bitcoin treasury, wouldn't you'd question that, right?
I would question that. That would almost be like a founder of a cryptocurrency project selling off at an all-time high. That would make me wonder things. I'm not going to say his name, but it rhymes with Marley He, and that would just make me question those things. That's why I don't own some things. So that's what we got right there. But what about these other ones? Your guys, your friends over there at NYDIG, they got a couple of like the Mass Mutuals, the Liberties, that type of thing into this space. Do you think at any point they'll be like,
Well, you know, it's not going to be their choice. So they're acting as fiduciaries. So if an insurance company such as Mass Mutual says, listen, we need to boost the bottom line, maybe there's a hurricane in one of their overly exposed insured areas of the world or something, they're going to do it. It's not NYDIG's fault. It's going to be what they have to do on behalf of their client.
Makes a lot of sense. So this was the first, I guess, shoe to drop. And I don't know what's going to happen after this. It will be interesting to see. Marley He. So let's go back to some questions.
I don't think it's painful. I'm looking at, I'm sorry to interrupt too. It's your show.
It's our show, Alex. It's our show.
I don't think this is painful. I think it's actually, listen, one, they got a ton of Bitcoin still left. All right. This was a small amount compared to what they bought in the grand scheme of things. So I don't think this should be a scare off or a sell off or any sort of panic to the market.
I don't think so either. I think it's, to me, it's not like, because we even took a look at this. Have you heard about this thing? It's called Trade the Chain. So sentiment analysis, and it goes through, it crawls all the interwebs, direct API integration into Twitter. Fantastic. We're just taking a look at, let me refresh this real quick. And I was talking about it, and me and Mullet had this discussion about when Mullet goes, I don't give about news or what's going on. I don't even care about the project, man. He goes, just give me a chart and I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm like, that's true. But I told him, I go, you can't predict an Elon Musk tweet about Doge. You can't predict that. He goes, well, something like that. And then for me, I was like, well, and then he said, well, you can't predict a bunch of whales moving a bunch of things. That's what TA's for. I go, great, agree to disagree, right? So when I see these types of things, I think news moves the market. That's why I like sentiment analysis. Mullet, CJ, Monty, those guys are big TA guys. So you use them both together. It's a win-win, as we say. But I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin, for example. It was at 1.2 something when we started the show. Now it's up plus 2% over the last hour. And this news has been breaking over the last couple hours, 2-3 hours. The call itself was, I think, 4 hours ago. So not too shabby, right?
I don't think it's impacting the market. Like I said, it's a very little dump into the order books. And I just don't think it's really newsworthy. If anything, it's going to hurt the pride of some people who believed in Elon Musk as being the CEO of Doge and the biggest proponent to Bitcoin. But other than that, as far as talking about what Mullet talks about with technicals and all this stuff, that type of dump doesn't impact the order books.
No, it doesn't. The only thing it means for me is that people have to really start to really drill down and say, you know what, maybe there is going to be a bear market at some point. Maybe Bitcoin won't be going up forever. Maybe these big companies, once everything starts to, do that big hockey stick where we start to say, well, this is unsustainable. And then FOMO sets in and they go, you know what, maybe I should have a big exit plan for Bitcoin. Because before this, I think people probably were like, whatever.
Yeah, but you know what, on the other side of that coin, I don't think people should be alarmed, because even though we may be in what I believe is the 5th or 6th inning of a bull run that's going to end somewhere, let's November, December, and some other more famous people have, I'm not even famous, more famous people have said January, February. The thing is, you don't know what's going on with Tesla itself, right? So this sell-off may have been to fill a gap in order for them to beat street estimates on a standard equities earning call, and that's all it is. I don't think it should be read into with anything to do with the Bitcoin market or the crypto market as a whole. I think it should be read into as where are the gaps that they had to fill within Tesla itself as a company in order to put profit, and that's it. Nothing to do with Bitcoin.
Nothing to do with Bitcoin. All right, so let's get to it, Alex. Let's talk about price predictions. Everybody's favorite. Price prediction for Bitcoin this year, and when does the bull run end, and when do you get out?
Yeah, I think my prediction hasn't waned too much from what I originally said back, say 3 months ago. I think we're going to be in the 125 to 150 range, and I think my prediction for when the bull run ends is a little earlier than some others. I'm predicting the end of November, going into December, is when we start to wane off of and start to tick down.
December. When do you want to? How are you going to play this? Are you going to get out all the way? Or are you going to maybe stay in for a little bit?
No, I'm going to go in all the way. But one of the things I'm going to watch for as we go through between now and the end of November, December is, one, I'm watching carefully what's happening now, right? We've had a pause. It's very, I think that what we've seen in the crypto market right now is due to a lot of overbearing headlines happening in rapid fire formation. So it's kind of stalled out the market. I'm going to watch for this to pick up. I'm going to watch as we go into summertime. I want to see if we stall out in summertime. When it comes, let's say end of August, beginning of September, I'm going to look for a more velocity pickup as we go into that October, November event. And then when it comes to November, I'm going to start thinking about my positions and where to trim and take the profits, because to me, I'm feeling that the end of November is going to be the end as it goes in December. But one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to pay the top of the market. And as CJ has pointed out in many episodes, with a famous person with the last name of Rothschild is, hey, listen, I never sold at the top and I never bought at the bottom. And I'm okay with that. I don't need to, play Top Gun and hit the edge of the envelope. I can sell out and leave some room for others to win on before it goes down.
That's a good point. Yeah, because that's a really good point. I can sell out and leave room for others to win on. Because we talked about today about people selling Doge at the top. And I said, if you do that, really what it comes down to is that someone's buying your bags. And we looked at a story about a guy who, it's awful. It was a joint account with him and his wife. He put all the money into Doge at 40 cents because he thought it was going to go up to $1. And he's like, I don't know what to tell my wife. And I was like, oof, I don't know what to tell her either. So, essentially you're just holding bags, and that's what it goes down to.
One quick thing, one last anecdote on that, Rob, is that a lot of people who are watching haven't been through what you and I have been through, and that's a bear market. When I came over from the traditional side of hedge funds into crypto, I used to really not want to talk to people who weren't a portfolio manager during 2008. And that's because they never experienced a downturn. They never experienced how to handle it both mentally and from portfolio construction aspect. And you and I have been through the ups of 2017, and we've waited out very patiently 3+ years in order to go through this bull market again, where you have some people who are coming into this bull market for the first time. Euphoria takes over and they don't know what disappointment tastes like. So it's very important for people to be smart.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of my many downfalls, which is I always believe people are just like me, right? They've gone through this thing, they know the ups and the downs, and when they're commenting, they're like they've already done this whole thing. I'm like, but just like what you said again, always forgetting this. Some people have only seen the upswings, and they just don't understand that what goes up will eventually come down, and you got to protect yourself at all costs. So, makes a lot of sense. All right, let's wrap this up with some questions if we got any. Again, everybody, sorry for cussing at the beginning. It's been a long day. And that's
too bad I missed the beginning.
Oh, well, the beginning I was like, man, this effing better work because I was trying to do all this tricky stuff, and I'm not good with back and forth between OBS and Zoom, but it worked out okay. I got to trim that. All right, see any questions that we got for Alex or for me. Let's see. What do you think of XDCX? I have no idea. I can't even pronounce it, so I can't even say it. Big money will sell before the new tax laws kicks in. Hey, what do you think about that? The Biden tax increase going from 20% to 39.6%. Do you think people will sell, or do you think they'll hold on?
My advice to people is don't react on the news or the rumors with his proposed bill. It's a slow ship turning around, and it's going to take a while for it to get enacted. Selling now does nothing for you. This imposed tax is not going to happen before the end of the year. It's not going to happen for a little bit. It has some process to go through Washington. Don't panic sell.
Don't panic sell. And we did a video on this. Gosh darn it! Was it Sunday, Saturday? I can't remember what it was, but it was me and Sheehan, the CPA, and I asked him. I go, hey, if this does go through, will it go retro to January 1st, 2021, or right when it gets signed, or later on? He goes at the very minimum, it's going to have to go in the next year because it's unfair to the taxpayers. He goes. Very, very rarely does it actually happen. He goes, actually, he said, I've never seen it like that.
Never happens.
Yeah. So he goes, there's that. And then he said, and you have to remember, Rob, he goes, even though that's, there's a slim majority in the Senate, he goes, you have to get all the Democrats to line up. And then you have to get of course, the Republicans will, do what they do. But he goes, if they want to be reelected, I don't think they're going to go from 20% to 39.6%. I was like,
this is not a bipartisan bill in the closest amount. It's going to take a long time for this to get through both the Senate and the House.
Yeah. So we will see. That we are not political commentators. We're just know about that.
We're just commentators.
We're just commentators. Don't listen to us. Not financial advice. Like Cody Score says, this guy's a joke. Yes, exactly. Actually, the correct moniker is these guys are jokes. So
thanks, Cody.
Thanks, Cody. What do you think of BNB? Buy, sell, or hold? If I get my grubby hands on it, I'd still buy it. I like BNB. I think it's going to go up, especially with, what? It's either BNB, Pancake Swap, or Solana. I heard you guys talking about Solana today, and I know you want to get into that. I know you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think out of all those, I think Solana the best. I mean, Pancake Swap, obviously, BSC aligned. So, Solana, I think is probably my number one. I just think it has more room to run up than BSC or PancakeSwap.
Did you see is it so? Did you see the team that these guys have for Solana?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like, and these are just some of the things that I'm like, oh, I really gotta do a deep dive in this one. But I mean, just look at this. Building Tether, USDC, Chainlink right there. And then the protocol hail from these companies: Apple, Qualcomm, Dropbox, Catalyst, and Google. I've heard of these guys. Google, Microsoft, they're all right. So yeah, a couple questions for you, Alex. Which is, Alex, I bought a bunch of Cardano at 33 cents. Where do you think it's heading?
You know something? Yeah, I listen. There's a lot of people in trade chain community or Cardano holders, and they give me grief all the time when I say this. Honestly, I think Cardano, nobody's building on it yet. It has a ways to go. I think we're going to see a lot of sideways range-bound trading on it for a while. I mentioned one of the episodes last Friday on my channel. OCamFi is the first one, the first platform to build a Cardano blockchain launchpad. I think something like that is going to, invoke people to build and launch products in Cardano. Other than that, I just don't see, Charles doing much right now.
Yeah, he's got to do a lot of things. There's going to be a big conference coming up, the 29th of April, the African conference.
Yep.
3 days from now.
A lot of people hanging their hats on that.
I don't know. I mean, we had talked about this a couple months ago, how they were building the relationships there in Africa, and they were starting to get not contracts, but they were starting to get inroads into sub-Saharan Africa, different countries over there. But I don't know if that's going to come to fruition. But it does look like they're putting a lot of time and effort. And Charles says DeFi is the future, especially in Africa. All right, and then next to last, Binance Smart Chain taking over temporary. Brian Brooks becoming the CEO, I think, of Binance US.
Yeah, I mean, interesting to see Brian do that. I've had interactions with Brian when he was, the comptroller of the currency. I think that was a great position for him. I think Cooley was a great CEO of Binance US. There was a lot of hurdles there. I don't know particularly why the change was made. I think they were both better off at their former posts. Cooley as CEO and Brian as comptroller. I mean, he's a competent dude. So whatever happens, I'll tell you this: if he leaves that post or if he's outed from that post, there's something wrong with Binance US.
Yep, I agree. So this is what always surprises me. Alex has his own channel, Alex Mascioli. Check it out. And he's got a lot of good intel on the insider. So as you see, just watch your toes, dropping names, because he's just talking about Brian Brooks. Brian Brooks and this guy, a good guy, and da-da-da. So check out his channel for sure. Also, Trade the Chain. If you're looking for sentiment analysis, look in the description of this video, and you get 2 weeks, 2-week trial, something like that.
2-week refund, period. No questions asked. We don't care why you want to quit.
Not too bad. And then let's see what else. Here, I think, first of all, Alex, thanks for coming on. I know you're a busy guy. So if you have to drop off, you just.
No, it's my pleasure.
You get out of here. That's fine.
Are you kicking me out, or
Well, wait for it. Let me address some questions. A small talk on Vechain and VeThor. Yeah, Vechain is going places. They seem like they have partnerships like every single week, and it's going to be great for tracking. I think it's going to be great because when I was in the medical field, it was all about recall of medications. It was very hard to get this done in a timely fashion because of the different transport. They wouldn't transport in the right way. Things would be unfrozen, and it would be a bad batch. And it was just an awful situation, especially with the patients. But with Vechain, you can track all those things. Then, of course, you can track all of the different things for like counterfeits. So I think Vechain will go up. I just don't know, when. And let's see what else. Nicholas Tarby says, clickbait, 2,000 watchers, 10% like. What's the clickbait? So let me refresh. Let me just show you. Hold on. Let me do something. So These are my favorite. So here was my thumbnail. And I said, I told you they'd sell. And guess what? Tesla sold Bitcoin in quarter one for 272 million. They sold approximately 10%. And that's what we talked about before he got on. So tell me what the clickbait is. And
why even listen to those people, Rob?
Because I'm a maniac.
They're watching you, aren't they?
It's just funny. I'm a maniac. That's why. That's just me. Let's see what else. What's your opinion on BTT? My opinion on BTT is that it went over my head. And if it wasn't for two people talking to me about it, my friend George and Mike the Investor, which he is freshly added to my list of cryptocurrency YouTubers. Without those two guys, I would have totally missed it. And I actually got in a little bit ago. Should have got in earlier. And those guys saved me, for example. So if you're looking for, like I say, Mike the Investor, he's one of those guys. He's a small cap gem finder, and he was talking about it forever ago. And I would just, look at it and kind of let it go. So
you know what? You know what's interesting? I'll put my 2 cents in on BTT. So I don't hold any BTT. In full disclosure, BTT is at the bottom of the order book. Let's say on Voyager is the cheapest asset that they have on their books. It's a Justin Sun Tron oriented product. I think it'll trade up just because of its price, but I don't think much more else.
Yeah, I think it can be something great, but again, it's one of those low cappers that it's got it's got a ton of tokens, right, Al?
It does, but the thing is, it's at like 0.6 of a cent or something like that, and that's what makes it attractive. Now, listen, that's a strategy in its own. We've mentioned this before, Rob. Whatever's at the bottom of the order book that's the cheapest is mentally attractive to people who are getting into crypto. So,
yeah. No, you're right. And it does make sense, especially if you're on Coinbase and you look at a thing, you're like, man, I can't afford one Bitcoin. There's no way. And one Ethereum, $2,500, but I can afford a fill in the blank type of token for nothing. And then I got a ton of those, and that could be the next Bitcoin because that's all they really know. So yeah, that makes sense.
Now you're showing your channels. I want to see who's on your channel list.
Oh yeah. This is a good one. So
I don't know Mike the Investor. I want to get in on this.
So here's the guys that I recommend. Let's see here. So there's this guy, Alex Mascioli. Check him out. He's the first one. If you haven't watched Alex Becker, let me tell you something. That guy's insane. He's very funny. There's actually a video of me. I caught myself actually watching Alex as I was waiting for Simon Yu to get on, and it was just hilarious. And he's got it pretty much dialed in as far as like how to get out of like the large cap ones and go into small cap.
Dude's funny. Funny, Alex Becker. I like it.
He is funny. He's a funny guy. Coin Bureau guy. I mean, that guy, if you want, just great detailed information about different types of projects, go to him. Shoshi, that guy, if I have a question about development, especially about the blockchain, I just go to him. And he's like, well, Rob, you just do this. And he's like, he's great. So go check him out. I think he just broke 100,000. He's at 112.
He's amazing. I just watched a couple episodes of his actually earlier today. Yeah. And this guy is so level-headed when it comes to the dev and tech side. And he just explains it so well. I really have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I got to get him. I don't want to take up too much because he's got like a real job. He's not like us. He like really does stuff. And
he's not a bum.
He's not a bum. He writes code and does great things. So I don't want to bother him too much. And then I got Mike the Investor. Check him out. Low cap gem finder. He's the one that talked to me about BTT. And there's a couple other ones. But yeah. And then crypto, crazy for cryptos. That's Dave. He was the dude.
Is cool. I was watching his episode the other day. He's been filming from this beach in Thailand.
Yeah, I
guess where he spends most of his time, and it's really. I mean, talk about the crypto lifestyle. This dude is cool.
Yeah, and I think that's where he lives. He's like on Thailand for a little bit, and he's on these other little islands, and he just goes around. He's like, "This is what I do," and then like when I get emails from people like, "Hey, can you give me some advice about XYZ or where I can get this or can you help me manage my portfolio?" I'm like, I have no idea. I can't even begin to think about doing that for you. But my man Dave over at Crazy for Cryptos will help you out, and then he's got his own Patreon and whatever else. So yeah, And then the last one's bringing up Crypto Nobes. He's my guy. He's kind of like me, but with a with the downtown Abbey, British accent.
I watch Crypto Nobes, and it's so entertaining because I have a place in London. I love spending my time in the UK. When I watch him, it's like I'm on the BCC, the BBC. It's like it's awesome.
Yeah, and he also has a Cardano stake pool, so check him out. And then
good dude.
Yeah, good dude. And then the last one, Bitcoin family, that's Diddy. He was an investor since 2013, 2014. He's the guy that sold all his Bitcoin in 2017 and went all in. So I always take good advice from him. And he's the one where when I say when in doubt, zoom out, I got that from Diddy. I borrow a lot of things from a lot of different people. And then of course, my last thing is dog is my co-pilot, where they take poor dogs from the shelters and fly them all over our different parts of the country so they get adopted. And that's one of the many charities I give to these days. And if your favorite crypto YouTuber isn't there, it doesn't mean I don't watch them or that they suck or they're awful. Just that those are the ones I watch pretty much every day.
But we only have a certain amount of characters too in there.
That's true.
Type, so.
And time, right? I got only so much time. So that's who I got. But yeah, Alex, I think on his channel, I think I catch him almost every day. And then Coin Bureau, he goes kind of long, so sometimes I watch about half of it, and then off we go from the other ones. So that's it.
Well, you know what? Coin Bureau, he's a really smart guy. I enjoy watching what he has to say and stuff like that. So the smart people usually go long. The people like me, we try to keep it under 30, or people are going to figure out the whole sham.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm like, so what do you think about that? Yeah, that's what I think too. All right. Sounds good. All right. So thanks everybody for coming by. We just wanted to cover that, just kind of, work through the kinks. Nothing really happened in the market. Bitcoin is still up. Everything is going pretty well. And the only thing that you got to think about now is that, hey, some of these businesses might actually sell and might move on. And that's okay because they'll probably buy back in later. But I think this is just something to be aware of as time moves on. All right. Alex, any last words of encouragement and sage advice for everybody?
No, hang in there. It's don't let people make fun of you for taking profits, and don't let people make fun of you for implementing risk management. Those are smart investor things to do. Yeah. And anybody who keeps saying that stupid mantra about diamond hands and you got to hold on forever, tell them your goals aren't my goals. I got to do other things. You do you, I'll do me. And that's it. All right. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. See you on the next one. And